Boom. What's up, everybody? How we doing? This is the McAllister Hours podcast. Doing a little bit of a live stream here. We were going to react to the results, and they said they weren't going to come until 7:45. And it's saying that Donald Trump has won. Here, I'll show it according to let's look at the New York Times. Okay, yep. Oh, wow. Okay. So he did win. Wow. Okay. That's fucking wild. I didn't know because I wanted to start this a little late because I wasn't sure when. It's still sharing my fucking links for some reason. I don't know why. By the way, I hope everybody's doing okay in the snow here. I know this shit gets kind of ridiculous. Fuck, we're all living in it, right? Fucking A. My arms are completely sore from all the fucking shoveling I've done. Okay, I'm gonna mute that. I love everybody reacting, but I got it. Anyways, fuck, I mean, I guess let's just start off with this, right? I can't say I'm super surprised. Let's look at these. Let's look at the results. Here, I'm gonna pull this up because I always lose track of it. Vivek, okay, so I don't think they. Let me look if they did anything for RFK, because I don't think he can. Okay, so this is claiming that he can tip it, but I mean, I can't say I'm surprised. I do think it's kind of sad. I think it's a little sad that this has happened once again. We're really gonna go for this guy. We're really gonna vote for this man again. We're doing it again, people. Really? Okay, here, and I was gonna go down everyone on the list who I thought, because I didn't know if we were going to have the results by now, but Donald Trump, I mean, people who know me probably know my opinion on Trump. Not a fan. I did actually vote for him the first time around, all the way back when I was a little old Coleman, 19-year-old Coleman. I did indeed vote for Donald Trump on that time. But you know what? The whole thing about Trump is, I regretted it. I think literally the first day he went into office, because he signed however many different fucking. By the way, I apologize for the noise in the background. I'm doing this live stream. I can only really do it in the room that was going to be the new studio, but it's kind of echoey now, and so it's not ideal. But no, I think Donald Trump was. Up until that point, when he said drain the swamp, people really felt that, right? People really felt like, oh, this is really going to be the man that drains the swamp. Just his rhetoric. I mean, how he was really just able to tell people, like, the Clintons and all that, like, to their face, go fuck yourself. Like, there's something that on face value that was really nice and really refreshing to see in a political eye. I think a lot of people who go with the establishment and really want to see those kind of things happen, Trump was a nightmare for that. And someone like me, who's anti-establishment, and young and dumb, I remember my sister. I put on Snapchat I was voting for Trump, and she's like, "You're a fucking moron." And she was right in a sense. I mean, I was right. I mean, I had the correct prediction of, there was kind of this weird underlying thing where it's like, you all kind of thought oh, he could win. He could fucking win, right? And he fucking did. And that 3 months, or no, 3 months, that 2 months in between the election and when he went into office, I was like a lot of people. I was pumped. And then the day he went into office, he signed all these executive orders. I remember the one that really peeved me was with the pipeline. Because that the story, I don't remember exactly what the pipeline name was. But so my ex-wife, she's based out of Rapid City. So I kind of had like a knowledgeable background about this issue. Basically, there's this pipeline that they wanted to construct through a Native American territory or whatever, and they, obviously opposed this. So there was this big, there were all these conflicts between the police, the local police, and like all that with the natives. And it was this conflict that went on for like months and months and months, right? Like it was in the papers. Like everyone that like of that family circle was talking about because there was that connection, right? And the day that Trump went into office, he was just like all the months of hard work that went into that whole thing from the natives, he was just like, nope, fuck that. Nope, you're not getting that pipe. We're putting that pipeline through where all your ancestors have been buried and your rituals or what. Yep, fuck you. We're just gonna. And I remember that really kind of fucked with me a little bit. I'm not gonna say that Trump was. I don't think he was the worst president. I think you could make a fair argument that he's a better president than what we currently have. I think it's a fair argument. I think they're both awful. I think Trump is an awful president and an awful person. And I think it's really like, look like the Epstein stuff, right? Like he was on those flight logs. I mean, that means something, right? I mean, the fact that his base and Iowans are so blind to that they're just going to vote for him because he's red or because he's Trump, because, they want that thing back, right? Like they're just, I don't know. The thing about the thing that people, and it's too late now, right? It's already happened. This is a pretty, what was it? Let me pull that back up again. I think it was 50. Okay, well now they've rechanged. He has 62.5% of the votes, and I'm sure this will change. Probably by the end of this episode, these percentages will be different, right? But they're calling it early, right? It's a clear landslide victory. What it's looking like, which is sad. It's just fucking sad, man. It's weird. It's not surprising. It's definitely not surprising. But yeah, look, people. I guess I'll just speak to the Trumpians, to the people who like really fuck with Trump, right? Who really want to bring him back. He threw your entire thing under the bus. Do you not remember that? Back in 2020, when the Capitol happened, when the January 6th happened, he was all about that, and then the next day, you can find the speech. Like he fucking did a speech where he condemned his supporters. He said that they were, and then of course later he backtracks and he calls them heroes and stuff when he's not in the Geist. But I guess look, I was listening to Part of the Problem, Dave Smith's podcast. I highly recommend that. Very libertarian guy. I was listening to his podcast today about the whole thing, and the point that he makes, right? Like if Trump wasn't able to, if he wasn't able to do it while he was in office, like what makes you think that he's going to actually get there? Like, sure, he won Iowa, right? You don't think that they're going to make every concerted effort ever to like make sure he doesn't get in? Like, do you really think that that's like what? The second time's a charm. Third time's a charm, I guess. Third time's a charm. He's really gonna fucking do it this time. I don't know, man. I think it's bullshit. Hey, he went down again. He's still gonna win, but Ron DeSantis came in second. I can't believe people actually vote for that. Here's the thing that's wild. So Vivek Ramaswamy. this is the thing. This guy was fucked from the beginning with that name, right? Like that's that name really fucked him up. Really fucked him up. Because if you can't say the name of the candidate, you're screwed, right? Like it's not gonna happen. But you know, because here's the thing. One fucking time, I messaged the RNC for an interview back when I was like trying to interview people all the time, right? And ever since then, I've been bombarded at like almost daily with text messages from both Donald Trump's campaign and Ramaswamy's campaigns. And Ramaswamy was like, here's the thing. I will give him credit. He really fucking like grinded on the campaign trail. Like every fucking day he was in Iowa doing some event. I listened to him on a podcast. I think that same podcast. And he was talking about, how he was going to pizza ranches and talking to people at pizza ranches. I thought that was the funniest shit ever. Oh, wow. Nikki Haley came up in front of Ron DeSantis. That's surprising. I mean, I guess that's not really surprising. I can't believe that bitch actually got... I don't even know what her stances are. I don't even know I assume she's kind of like the moderate, right? She's probably the moderate conservative vote. Yeah. Good old Donnie. I don't know. I'm not surprised, but at the same time, I am surprised. It just, why do people think that this is going to work? Look, you're in a state that's religious, right? Where it's deeply religious. And it's not surprising. Those people are going to go towards that, right? I don't know. Like, it's sad because there's a lot of anger. There's a lot of unrest. And that's justified, right? It's justified to be upset about that. To say that, to talk about like how, maybe the election wasn't 100% fair. Maybe the fact that every media and university and establishment ever, all in the court, had a court effort for everybody to vote for one party. Maybe not necessarily that like they changed votes, but like, if you have an entire system leaning one way, that's not a fair vote. Like if you went into, I don't know. That's not even a good example. But I guess, look, I get it, but like I said, it's already happened. The ball's already rolling. The dominoes have already gone down. I just think it's sad. I would have even been okay with DeSantis, honestly. I don't like any of these people. I think they all have shitty ideas. I think Ramaswamy had some crazy ideas. I was listening to them talk about he wanted to cut off trade from China, which is an awful idea. As fucked up as China is, like what? You're just gonna have the entire American population starve? Okay, what? Like that's a great solution. So I don't know. Ramaswamy really fucking took an L on this one. I kind of had some, I don't know, I had some, not even like hope. I just kind of thought that he would be higher up in this. He really put forth the effort in the trail. And I guess that's kind of a sad thing. Not even a sad thing, but like to someone who maybe would dream of doing something like this or like really trying to, do like a grassroots type movement, right? It's really hard. You can be him and you can be in a pizza ranch twice a day in Iowa, and you're still not going to get shit. So, yeah, I guess that's how it is. So, now here's the question. I guess this kind of, I think this is why, like, I stand by my prediction. I'll put that away for now. I stand by my prediction. I think we're having another 4 years of Joe Biden, and this is a very clear signals to that. The man who is definitely not going to be president is winning. And so you have two options at that point. You have RFK, who's not going to win, and you have Joe Biden, who is going to win. I obviously as a libertarian, there's no point of caucusing. Because I mean, that's kind of the weird thing about the LP, right? It's like there's one candidate and everybody's kind of just like, all right, well, we're not gonna bicker. We're not gonna bicker about who we're gonna put in, right? I don't even know who he is. He emailed me. He is weird. He emailed me twice. He emailed me that the LP caucus, I guess, and then he emailed me again to make sure that I had gotten the email and to let him know if I needed anything. I'm like, maybe I could interview this guy, but I don't know. I could have probably even interviewed Ramaswamy, honestly. I mean, that guy was literally going fucking everywhere. I mean, he probably would have done it. I mean, like 350 subs, that's something, right? It's fucking something. Everybody starts there. That could be my selling point, right? Like Vivek. we'll have you as a sponsor, man. Fuck. No, I'm kidding. Not a fan. Anyways, so yeah, I guess I stand by my prediction. I think this proved that. RFK is an interesting candidate. For sure. I like a lot of his stuff. I don't necessarily agree with all like the equity stuff. I think he is kind of has some of those woke tendencies to him that I not really a fan of. But look, I think he's also very libertarian in a lot of aspects. I think he wants to do a lot of the same things that like a Vivek type person wants to do, which is like dismantle the establishment, that kind of thing. I do think he's kind of on that track. So it's interesting. And look, I mean, I think the thing that RFK has over every candidate is that his online presence. I mean, I think it's unmatched. I mean, even Vivek trying to, in this last couple months, trying to be on like every podcast and cycle through, I think even with that, RFK is just, I mean, his social media presence is on fire. It really is. He was the first candidate this cycle to really understand that and grapple with that and grasp that. I mean, Trump's done it to some extent, but he still lives in the corporate press. Like, he still lives in this corporate press zeitgeist where like he needs to be on scene. Like, he needs to be validated by these like corporations, right? Like, because he's old school and he's an egomaniac. He's like he's too focused on that versus someone like RFK who just really wants to win and really wants to gain support and is smart about that, right? So yeah. Excuse me. I don't really know what else to say on that. Is what it is. I guess two other things I wanted to talk about today while we're here, and then at the end maybe we'll look back on the results and reflect, see if that's maybe changed. I doubt it. Let me just double check, make sure I'm not trying to run everything here. Epstein, the docs. And like we talked about last episode a little bit, I guess I kind of just wanted to touch upon this fact again. Something that I kind of think about is because they just released the last batch of them, I think like a week ago, the final last batch of docs. And I mean, of course, even with that, right? I mean, the attention span of America, the news cycle, I mean, that was already very clear, right? I mean, these other documents that dropped, I don't know if there's been any more revealing information. But I mean, look, I'll even say me personally, like you kind of like it's natural to lose interest in this day and age, right? And I guess my point with all this is the sad fact that none of these people are going to see justice. None of these people are going to sit in a cage or be executed or anything for these terrible crimes against children, against, unwilling women, whatever, right? It's just a sad fact. It's a sad fact of the day and age that we live in. Bill Clinton is going to die in his home, surrounded by his cunty wife, his cunty children, and he's going to think about all the orgies with underage children. He's going to smile, and that bastard's going to die. I mean, that's what's going to happen. All of these people that are on the list, they're not going to go out the way that you want them to go out. And that, Like I said, there's a reason that we started the year out with this. We started the year out. They gave us this information at the beginning of the year to kickstart it. Like, oh, that ignites the flame, right? Oh, 2024, boom. Epstein, boom. You're an instant, like, fucking in it, right? Instantly triggered. The election, it's already happening. January 15th. Fuck, what? A week or two, maybe less than a week or two since that's been dropped. What was it, the 4th or 3rd? So yeah, I mean, a little shy of 2 weeks since that information has been dropped. There hasn't been any talk of these people getting arrested. The corporate press has completely ignored it. They did a very good job, clarifying. This doesn't mean anything. Tim Dillon did a great bit on that. I highly recommend it. I'm not going to steal his shit. Excuse me. Oh my God, these sprites, man. These fucking sprites. I feel like the fucking God doing these live. I haven't done one of these live streams on the podcast in a while. Maybe it'll become a regular thing. Who knows? Maybe we'll do this all the time. I doubt it, but it might happen. Who knows? So I guess that's something that people should, remember it. I hope people remember this. Remember these times. Like, I hope the whole Epstein thing doesn't get fucking swept under the rug, and then 4 years from now, nobody is talking about it. I hope people still talk about it. I hope people still think about it. I do think it is a red herring in a sense to the establishment, the people in power, etc. I do think that is important. Yeah, man. Fuck. Fucking Donald Trump, man. It's fucking... God, that's such a retarded vote. I'm sorry. Look, you can be mad at the DNC and the Democrats for kind of all aligning a certain way with Biden. Like, that definitely pissed me off, but it pisses me off equally to see the same thing happen with Trump. Again, the first time it was at least a wild card, right? Now we know. Now we fucking know. And look, he was awful on COVID. He was awful on all these fucking things, right? Like, whatever good you can point to him doing, there's twice as much bad that's the case with every president, right? Like, people just pick and choose, nitpick. I don't know. I hope Lolo doesn't listen. That motherfucker probably went and voted for him. He probably caucused for Trump, that motherfucker. I'm kidding. I love him. I don't know. I don't know if he actually wants Trump to win. I don't know. Maybe we'll talk about it in the next episode, how he feels about him. Maybe we'll reveal that. Maybe it'll be the last episode. Who knows? I'm kidding. I love him. All right. Last thing I want to talk about today. Because I gotta take a shit. I'll be honest, man. I'll be honest. I try to time out these bathroom things and it never happens. So the Barbie movie, I finally watched it. I finally got around to watching this. I had avoided it for a long time because first of all, I didn't really have a need to watch it. I didn't really have a desire to watch it because it's clearly a movie made for women, which is great. I don't think that's bad at face value. And look, I don't think the movie was bad. I was actually, so Molly did finally coerce me into watching this. Not even coerce me. She's just like, I kind of want to watch it. And it was kind of a day that I had been regretting. It's like that TikTok, right? It was like that TikTok that was going around where like they get in the car, the couple gets in the car, and the man, and she's like, did you like the movie? And he's like, yeah. But, and then it cuts. That's how I felt like not even like the whole movie, but here's the whole thing. I think when that movie came out, there was like a clear like conservative push against this film. They were like, this is a men hating thing, right? Like, and I think some of the criticisms were valid. I do think the movie was overly sexualized, especially for, a toy that's like it did have a PG-13 rating, but I mean, it's a toy that's geared towards children. So, I mean, there is kind of some context there where you kind of have to wonder, like, Molly made this point, like, the toys in themselves are kind of sexual. That's fair, but I do think that there's something when you transpose, like, a toy to, like, an adult, a real person, someone that can make porn, right? Like, there's something there that should be thought of, I guess. I don't know. So I think that was a valid criticism of it. I don't think it was like this man-hating monster necessarily. Look, I'm a man. Clearly, I'm a straight man, so my experience is limited. However, I did grow up with 3 younger sisters, and a mother, and I'm divorced. So I think I have a pretty good. I have not even pretty good. I have at least a decent understanding of this kind of thing, right? I like to. You're going to say I'm mansplaining. You're probably right, but that's how I feel. So for this podcast, it's valid. No, I did kind of really appreciate how they handled the theme of feminism and how that kind of correlates to the modern world. I really don't think that they had this black and white approach to it. What's her name? What is the name of the director? She did Lady Bird, which I really enjoyed. Lady Bird is a really good movie. Who's the fucking director? Who was the director? Greta Gerwig. There we go. I think she's a fantastic director. And with this film, she clearly knew what she was doing. I didn't think it was necessarily the most amazing plot. But I mean, at least flowed together decently well enough. And she had an understanding of this. She clearly had like a wholehearted understanding of this whole thing. There were points where she did a very, she was able to like cleverly make fun, like poke fun of both men and women, like in a way that I actually didn't think was very attacking. And I've talked about this on the Guts and Gore podcast. Last year I saw this movie called The Blackening, and I hated it. And the reason why I hated this movie is because it wasn't you weren't just poking fun at white people, you were hating white people. And there's a line, there's a balance. I'll get to that in a sec. But I look, they poke fun at women and men. I like equally. I thought maybe not equally. I don't know, but. But look, I think like it didn't come off as like, oh, we're the powerful women in the world. Like it really didn't have that vibe to it at all. I really think it was a woman who was trying to tell a very real story, how she felt truly. I don't think it was I think there might be, you could probably find things that were obviously politically bent about this movie, but I don't think that was the whole thing. Like a movie like The Blackening, you watch that. It has a fucking fist at the cover. Like, it's clearly a political statement, right? I don't think that was the case with this movie. I really don't. I think a lot of conservative hosts got that whole thing wrong. And look, I like the set design. The set design was brilliant. The cinematography is brilliant. It even had pretty good music. From a direct, just plainly from like a directorial film aspect, I actually came away from this movie enjoying it more than I thought I would. Like, I really did try to go with no mind, and I was actually genuinely surprised. And this is where I'm the TikTok. That being said, I do think the film did intentionally portray men, not even necessarily in a negative way, but in an intentionally specific way, where they seem to paint every man as this archetype, except Alan, who's clearly gay. I'm sorry. Clearly gay. Besides that, every man was this shitty archetype, right? Like, she goes into the real world, and every single man that she comes across in that movie makes some sexual comment, even gropes her at one point. Like, just the stereotypical shitty man, right? And look, I mean, there were what was the joke where she came in, she was like asking about The Godfather. I thought that was funny. I laughed. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty funny. Like I give him credit. That's a pretty funny thing to make fun of men for, right? But look, I mean, like, I guess here's the difference. Here's the difference from a movie. When a movie in this modern time tackles the issue of the shitty straight white man, right? That's a very real thing in Hollywood. That's a very real thing in film. The best example I can always think of is Lawrence of Arabia. It's considered one of the greatest films of all time. Also one of the most racist films of all fucking time. I mean, they have an entire cast of Arab people, right? And then they have the main Arab who they even had like a supporting, not even supporting, like a other main cast member who was Arab, and like he didn't have a bad accent, he could speak clearly, right? It wasn't anything like that. But then for some reason they just like put Alec Guinness, who's like this white English guy, gave him brown face. Like there was definitely a period where shitty things were done in that respect. I will never deny that. However, I think there's I think when people in this day and age make those films, they need to take upon some sort of responsibility. Because film is important. Film sways media, film sways culture. When you have a big picture, it's going to change culture. It's going to change the way people think. We've seen this throughout history. This is not a crazy theory, right? This is a very real thing. And I think when people tackle a subject like this, like it requires some sort of nuance, and I think there is a certain level of responsibility. Because look, I think the people who did Lawrence of Arabia, as shitty as they were, I don't think they went to that writer's room or whatever saying, hey, you know what? We're going to make a movie about Arabs, and we're going to make sure that people know that we don't like this. We're going to intentionally portray them in a certain way. I think there's a time where it was ignorance, not intention. Those are two very different things. And I'm not forgiving ignorance at all. But two wrongs don't make it right. I guess that's the easiest way to put it. Two wrongs don't make it right. And when you have this escapade of films and culture that's just going to hate one group of people, maybe not even blatantly. And like I said, I don't think Barbie necessarily did. I don't think Barbie went in hating white people necessarily, or like white men, I should say. I don't know. You're speaking to an entire culture, I guess. You're fueling the fire, something like that, or the blackening, where you're going to intentionally have a group of people, and you're going to intentionally say that these are the shitty people, and we're going to clearly. I just feel like there's a different vibe with something like that versus like, or whatever, like the 7-Year Itch, where they have like the Asian guy that they're making fun of. That's shitty. I don't think that they went in thinking, oh, we hate Asians, so we're gonna make this. But I do think that the movies being made these days, they have that mentality. I truly do think they have that mentality. I went to film, like I went to DMAC art school. Like I saw this. I've seen this myself. It's spoken about in classrooms. How like the patriarchy, the shitty white man. Look, I thought the whole joke with I only wanted to join the patriarchy because of the horses. I thought that was kind of funny. I don't really know how much of the whole patriarchy theory I buy. I don't know. I think a lot of it has to do with biology. Things just happen to happen, right? And it's great that we live in a day and age where things could be more equal. But I don't think it was like, oh, we're evil and we took over. I just don't believe that. Regardless of that, my point is, I guess that's my point. When people make these kind of films, they should be cognizant of that. Hey, what's the difference between me poking fun at something and having the intent that we're going to intentionally portray this in a way to skew population's understanding of this? To have like a teaching moment, to have like a big thing. I think it's just, I just think it's a very emotional reaction. And I don't think that's good. That's what I'm going to say about it. But look, like I on Letterboxd, I gave it like a 3.5 out of 5. I thought it was a good movie, okay? But but there's this little thing that I knew was going to, and I already knew it was going to be a problem. I had seen plenty of stuff about it beforehand, which is why I skipped it, because I was like, why would I subject myself to this? But here I was, and it was fine. It wasn't a bad movie, but that one part did kind of stand out to me, and I kind of was like, you know what, I gotta talk about it. Because that's what I do. This is really all the podcast is. This is just like anger in a ball, and then I've put up on the internet. That's what this is. All the things that make me angry, I just put them in a little ball and I put it on the internet, and boom, this is the podcast. This should just be called. I should just rename this the Angry Podcast. Fuck the McAllister part. Let's just make this the Angry Podcast. Next episode 1 of the Angry Podcast. Fuck. Before we sign off, let's see if this has changed. Not really. Still a winner. He went down to 50. So he got, right now he's down at 52% with 1,803 votes. And yeah, they've already calculated quite a bit of it. Yeah, I mean, it's sad, but that's how it is. Brent Thomas, Epstein didn't kill himself. Thank you. It sounds dumb, but keep saying that, people. Keep fucking saying it. All right, I love you all. We're not gonna have an episode on Unhinged Uncensored tomorrow. Actually, for a couple weeks now, just because we haven't been able to make it work with jobs and such, and the weather fucked up a lot of stuff. I mean, if you're not living in the Midwest, you're in a fucking paradise right now, because oh my god, I still have to shovel out where my fucking trash cans are, and I might just not bring. I just might let the trash pile up. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But we'll be back with Guts and Gore Thursday, and yeah, this was actually kind of fun. Maybe we'll do this again. Maybe, really what it is like I have like a bad day. I have a bad day, and I'm like, I don't want to do an episode today. And then the next day I'm doing okay. I'm like, okay, I should really put one out. So what I'll just put out a live stream, I guess. So that's what happened. But anyways, all right, guys. Excuse me. Have a good night.